Do you remember when Trump was like spilling out all over the place about how he wouldn't accept anything but complete and total surrender from Iran? Yeah, we didn't get that. It's time for your foreign policy morning debrief. Iran. Continued, I guess. Today is going to be a long one, so buckle in, Guardians. The deal dropped with Iran, or excuse me, the memorandum to begin negotiating for a deal dropped with Iran, and it's not great. So I'm going to go through the 14 points. Well, actually, I'm just going to go through the first 11 because the last 3 are kind of procedural, and they just sort of reinforce and reiterate what the first 11 points are discussing. So number 1, immediate and permanent ceasefire is to be discussed on June 19th at the signing of this memorandum. And there is 60 days from that point to complete that. So that's the first one. The second one is that each country is going to respect one another's sovereignty, and they're basically just going to butt out of their deals, which is basically putting us in a place where Iran gets to do whatever the hell they want. So all of that talk in February or in January and February about, liberating the Iranian people, yeah, that's off the table now. Negotiations are to begin for immediately, and there are 60 days to finish the negotiations after the signing, which is on June 19th, the official signing of the memorandum. So they have 60 days to get this stuff figured out. The fourth point is that the naval blockade upon the signing of the memorandum is to immediately be removed, right? And that all of the force that has been used to kind of enforce all this stuff from the American side is to be removed. All of the allies in proximity of Iran are also to be removing their military forces, etc., within 30 days. And by allies, they mean Israel. The fifth point is that Iran will ensure safe passage through the strait at no charge for 60 days. So from the 19th of June, for 60 days, there will be no charge, at which point Iran and Oman, the two countries that border the strait predominantly, will begin negotiating the use of the strait going forward. They own it now. They get to do what they want with it now. Expect there to be fees that will get reflected in our gas prices, our fertilizer prices, and everything else going forward. The sixth point is really interesting. 300 billion with a B is being allocated to Iran for reconstruction. Now, supposedly, that is supposed to include our partners, etc., the UAE and the Saudis. They haven't really agreed to that, but we're basically on the hook for $300 billion worth of reconstruction to Iran. Iran is making out like bandits in this deal. They're getting a lot. Remember that the Republicans and Trump in particular had an absolute shit fit over $1.8 billion sent back to Iran of their own money with the JPCOA. All sanctions, the next point is all sanctions are to be removed. So we have been sanctioning Iran because of their human rights abuses and their anti-democratic processes, as democratic with the little d, etc., for years, for decades. And those sanctions have kind of kept Iran sort of in check and economically in check, and they are to be removed. 100%. All of them are to be moved. And at the 8th point, Iran has agreed to no nukes that they didn't have, and they've agreed to have no more nukes. But here's the thing. A nuclear weapon is really just a deterrent, and they don't need it because all they have to do is close the Strait of Hormuz to inflict economic pain upon anyone who wants to challenge them on anything. So they don't need a nuke at this point. They have agreed to maintain the status quo, which is basically the JPCOA, but shittier. So the U.S. is now to issue waivers on sanctions that can't be immediately dropped so that Iran is still not paying for these sanctions, right? So they're not going to pay extra fees. They're not going to all of this stuff. So basically they get a free pass to do whatever they want. The 11th point is that the U.S. this one really angers me. The U.S. has to give back all of the money and the assets that have been seized over the last like 50 years from Iran in violation when they were violating sanctions, etc. And after the coup in the 70s, like we have to give all of that back. Remember that the primary sticking point with the JPCOA was that we gave Iran $1.9 billion of their own goddamn money that we had taken back to them. And now we have to give all of it back to them. It is billions of dollars. On top of the 300 billion reconstruction that we are on the hook for with this deal. So we got screwed. He went in there, he started a war for funsies, apparently, demanded that all of these things had to happen, and didn't get a single concession. Not one. Even the no nukes thing is pointless because Iran, according to our own intelligence agencies, had no nukes and had no preparations and things in place to make nukes. We got nothing except $250 billion in the hole, plus whatever else this is going to cost us. And we still don't even have a real deal. We have a memorandum to discuss this deal. And Iran gets whatever they want. And the people of Iran still aren't free. This is what happens when you put incompetent idiots in charge. Stay informed, Guardians.